Scott, and some other names as well. But mainly Cecil and Lloyd Scott. They were brothers. And, Cecil played the clarinet and the saxophones, and his brother Lloyd was the drummer. And they had a band together in Springfield, well, many Springfields. This was Springfield in Ohio, and that's where they began their band. And gradually they moved east. They went to Pittsburgh first of all, and they were there for some time before finally making it to Harlem. So people regard them as a Harlem big band, but really they were in a couple of different places, eventually culminating in Harlem success. I'll tell you a little bit about what happened to them after that. We're going to begin with the music with Bright Boy Blues. The band was called Cecil Scott's Bright Boys at one point. And so this was their theme song, Bright Boy Blues. And we hope you like it. 2, 1, 2, 3. Set, we are filling in for Claus. He prepared all of these arrangements and sent them to me, and all his things like the order is Claus's chosen order. We've got people playing particular solos as chosen by Claus, and in this set later on I'll be talking quite a bit about our dear friend, mentor, hero, and just compatriot and colleague, Claus. But first we'll get through some of this music and let you hear what Claus wanted you to hear. So that was Bright Boy Blues from Cecil Scott and his band. As I said, he was the reed player in the band, and his brother Lloyd was the drummer. Earlier on it was his orchestra, and they seemed to kind of just have this agreement that whoever was the leader at any given time they would just switch and all that sort of thing, until later on when Lloyd became sort of the manager of the band and Cecil took over the full-time leading of the band. This one's from earlier on though, it's from 1927, it's called Happy Hour Blues, and this one's Lloyd Scott's. That doesn't mean it doesn't feature some of the replaying, and in fact, you're going to hear from, who's got this? Oh, yes, is this the baritone one?
Yep.
Yeah, we got some baritone, hot baritone in the style of Cecil Scott. Happy Hour Blues.
1, 2, 3.
Was a very young and very fabulous Dickie Wells. He went on to play with all sorts of bands during the swing era. He went to France and played with Django Reinhardt and all sorts of others too. But we've got Alistair doing a magnificent job on those trombone solos. Well done, Alistair. And of course on the clarinet, Jean-Francois Bonnel. Here's the other one from Lloyd Scott's orchestra, and this is called Harlem Shuffle. I guess they were shuffling gradually all over to Harlem. Later on we'll play Springfield Stomp, so they did like to name their songs according to their own lives. And it must have been a fun group of musicians, I think, because Dickie Wells certainly was an interesting character. There's a great book that he wrote, which is worth reading. One of the trumpet featured soloists was Frankie Newton as well, so really stellar cast in this particular band. So this is Harlem Shuffle.
One, two, 3, 4.
band did very well, and in Harlem they made some great recordings, as you heard, with some great solos from various members of the orchestra. We're not playing them note for note, we're doing our own versions very often, but in the same style. Coming up to this next one, In a Corner, is now Cecil Scott's Bright Boys again. He's got the leadership, Lloyd's managing now. Good to have a brother like that around, wouldn't it? Yeah. I don't have any brothers. If anyone would like to volunteer to be my manager, though, you're welcome. I'll give you 5%. Okay, 7. We'll see. Anyway, as the band was kind of progressing, you hear a slightly zany touch beginning. Their first recordings have a lot of, hotness and interesting arrangements, but they really get a little odd. And you're going to hear some of these. We were rehearsing these the other day, at the end of the day. It was the last rehearsal, in fact. And our heads were just spinning around in circles trying to play these really complicated arrangements. And Claus has done a great job putting them down for us in ink. So this one is In a Corner. And this one's got a very... is repetitive the wrong word? What do you think? I think it's quite a repetitive solo for the clarinet and the baritone. You'll see what I mean.
Hypnotic.
Yeah, hypnotic. That's perfect. Yeah, thank you. That's the word. Yeah. We won't take any responsibility for your actions after hearing In a Corner.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Did you enjoy that? I thought you might. Our two heroes there were Horniblow and Bonnel. Actually, as I was listening to the ensuing chaos, I was actually kind of enjoying also the tuba playing of Richard Pite there, as on the original. Well done, Richard. Now, Spats.
Yes. Yes.
Yes? Have you got another song in you?
I've got plenty of songs.
Yeah.
My voice has gone really low.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to sing this one like Barry White. Or I could preach it like Thomas Morris.
I think more of a James Brown. Can you manage that? Yeah. Is that going to hurt your throat? We're going to do Lord, Lord. And I'll give you one guess what the lyrics are. Okay. Lord, 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 Lord. There are some, you know, in the spirit of theme and variations, there are some variations in this one. So, as you can see, Claus is very much in his programming, providing you with all of the range of human emotions. And this one will be another one from the previous one, I'll tell you. Lord, Lord.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
convey so many different emotions, not just the one. I think you managed it again there, Spats. You know, was that? Do you feel moved? Yeah, I thought so. Lord, yeah. So we're coming up now to an arrangement I mentioned earlier, and that's Springfield Stomp. And this one we're playing, Claus sent this to me, but it's actually Keith Nichols' arrangement. And we all know Keith and remember him so fondly. We were talking about him last year, and of course we talk about him every day amongst ourselves, and I'm sure you're thinking about him when you're here looking at this stage. It's great to play his charts, and the same thing is going to be taking place with Claus's music. We're going to be seeing it for years to come and always treasuring it and playing it, and it's got such a very memorable style to look at. Every time we play it, we'll think of Claus and how much fun we had. So this one's Springfield Stomp, and well, I don't think I need to tell you anything about it, we'll just play it for you.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So we're coming up to the last of our possible Scott brother recreations, and the reason is they didn't record all that much. Now, usually when Claus and I were organising the program for Whitley Bay, we would kind of allocate things according to their theme and try to get a nice balance of different styles of music, different people leading things. It was quite an involved discussion that we would have, and I'm sure it was the same with Keith when he was involved before me. Now, it was a lot of fun. And everyone already, I think probably I was driving here on Wednesday with Nick, and he was already suggesting ideas to me about next year. Now, if that gives you a thought about, well, times that by all the musicians here, and everyone's quite excited to put their ideas forth, and it's so much fun, but I'm exhausted. But I had, fortunately, for the last few years, I had Claus to help me, and we would finish off the big band battle or whatever. We'd finished the Paul Whiteman last year. We'd put our instruments away, go off to the pub, get a drink, and Claus would find me. And he would say, "Now, Michael, we have to get on. What are we doing next year?" And I've not even touched my red wine yet. And I think this really speaks to the person that we all knew, Claus, and that was what he taught me personally, and I'm sure everyone will agree. Tell me if you do, chaps. Energy. That's the word for Claus, isn't it? So much energy. He could go all day, all night, talking, planning, writing, playing, and we were so lucky to have that burst of energy in our lives. And a lot of the charts we're playing, it's thanks to him that we're playing them at all. They're so hard to play, let alone write down. You're going to hear that in the next one. And when I think about the planning next year, it's going to be a lot of fun as well, but I'm really going to miss that energy. I'm going to have to channel Claus's energy. But I think we can do it, can't we, chaps? We've got that energy. He's shown us the way. I'd like to add that in conjunction with the committee, we have invited Colin Hancock to join the committee as a musical director. And when I think of all the people around the world playing this style of music, listening to this style of music, reading, researching, loving this style of music, I can't think of anyone who has that energy that Claus had, like Colin. So I think he'll fill in and give us that injection of enthusiasm that we need. When I'm at the bar tonight, I'll get on the phone and see what ideas he's got. We are going to talk a little bit more about Claus later on, and also Cecil Scott. There's a comparison I'd like to draw. But before we do, I think it's time to get some music happening. And how are we feeling over here in the piano and banjo department?
We're not overly confident.
Well, you know what Claus would do. He would make you play it anyway, and that's what I'm going to do. Here is Symphonic Scrunch, our last Lloyd Scott tune. We've got some other things planned. Well, the Claus planned for us. But this is Symphonic Scrunch. Lock the doors, please. Phil, don't let anyone out. Jonathan, you know what to do.
Are you afraid? 1, 2, 3.
And on the banjo and piano, we had, of course, these stars over there doing some really weird things. Well done, chaps. Okay, so when planning a set for Whitley Bay, you have to think about what repertoire there is. Sometimes there's too much, but other times, if you had an hour set, it would be too long. But there's too many to do in a half-hour set, and with a big group, you don't want too many kind of people coming and going all the time. So Claus and I would kind of try and get things right in terms of the right length of set. But sometimes that meant that music like this got left out because I think there were 7 of those tunes we've played so far, and that's not really enough for a full set, but it's a bit too big for a small set. So what Claus planned with this is to put in a couple of songs from the Cliff Jackson Band. Now, that was a similar band in a way. They were active in Harlem around the same time, and in fact they were very close to where the Duke Ellington Band were playing at the Cotton Club, and they used to mix with those musicians between the two. And they had a similar sound in a lot of ways. So we're going to play a couple of tunes from Cliff Jackson, and this one's another one from Keith, and we'll come back a little bit to both Claus and Cecil at the end. But this one's from Cliff Jackson, it's The Terror.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
That one had a few solos, but the only one I really feel like kind of sort of mentioning was that really tough tonguing on the tuba solo. How about that? Give us a little demonstration of that, would you? Well, maybe not, but maybe next year. Okay, our final tune from the Cliff Jackson Band is called Horse Feathers. Any ideas?
Yes, yes.
Me neither. Horse Feathers, this is from 1930, and another from Keith. Both this one and the last one I learned not from the original records, but from a Keith Nichols album, which he and Claus made together, which Richard was on, actually. Yeah. Anyone else? Alistair as well, I think. Yeah. Anyway, here's Horse Feathers.
One, two, one, two, three.
So, Cecil Scott was a wonderfully characterful man, and he went on to have quite a good career throughout the 30s, but the band itself broke up. The Bright Boys didn't go on very long, and the reason is sort of a bit murky, and that is to do with something that happened with a gangster. Well, basically, what I could piece together from a little bit of research was he had a leg injury that was caused by trying to escape from a gangster who thought he had designs on his woman, which maybe he did, I don't know. But certainly he was trying to escape from this gangster, and he went out the back of this establishment, probably went down the fire escape or whatever, and he had to climb up a fence, and then he jumped down and badly hurt his ankle, and in fact had to have his leg amputated after a while. And after that, he said that he didn't really like, being in the front of the band, standing and leading the band. He felt sort of sensitive about doing that. So he stopped leading a band, but he worked with a whole lot of other bands, including those of Clarence Williams, and had a particularly kind of successful family life. He went on to have at least 11 children. I've heard reports of 13. The pianist Art Hodes went to his place, visited him there, and tells this story of this wonderfully kind of warm-hearted, generous individual whom his whole family loved, and that really just the best good-natured person. And Art Hodes said, 11 children, how do you do it? How do you live? And he said, well, we eat in shifts and we sleep in tears. And I was thinking about this, I was reading a little bit, preparing this set, thinking about what Claus would have liked. And it really made me think, this strong family man who had such a warm nature. And it's so great to have all of Claus's family here this weekend, isn't it? Thank you for coming, Anka, and thank you for bringing the family. And it really is special, I think, to have this Cecil Scott, Claus Jacobi connection. They were both, really special people, according to their families and according to others, their listeners, the listening public and fellow musicians. And there's even more. And that is, in my researching, I was looking at Michael Steinman, the jazz writer. He's got the blog Jazz Lives, Jazz Lives. And there was some of this information about Cecil Scott there. And I scrolled down to the comments, and there are at least 2 from family members saying, oh, we really, it's not just the musicians. We in our family still remember Cecil Scott. And I'm sure that's going to be the case with Claus, isn't it? Yeah. We're all going to remember Claus Jacobi, aren't we? Yeah. We've reached the end of our program as programmed by Claus, but I thought we had to do one more. And this is one that Cecil Scott recorded with Clarence Williams. It's originally called Chisel and Sam, but we're going to rename it. We're going to call it Scribbling Claus. And if you've seen his arrangements, you'll all recognize the writing style, and I bet his family do too. This is not Chisel and Sam, but Scribbling Claus. So we're all going to go wild on this. We'll all have a solo and have some fun, just like Cecil and Claus would have liked.
Okay, rhythm section, 2. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3.
That's it from our tribute to Cecil and Lloyd Scott and Cliff Jackson, but most of all, thank you and give one round of applause. Join us in thanking Claus Jacobi for that music and all the other music. We'll see you after the lunch.